Today, I'm doing an Etsy listing tutorial from start to finish, and I mean from the very beginning, even if you've never touched Etsy before. Most people think setting up an Etsy listing is this overwhelming, complicated process. They get stuck thinking about all the keywords they need to research, the perfect photos they need to take, the descriptions they need to write, all the tags, and so they never even start. Does that sounds familiar? I'm with you. But here's the truth. Creating an Etsy listing is actually simple when you follow the right system. I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step process that eliminates overthinking. It can be done in 30 minutes or less with the help of AI. This is the same system successful Etsy sellers use to create listings that rank number one in search and actually make sales. I've helped hundreds of people go from I'll start my Etsy shop someday to getting it all set up within a day. So by the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to create your first listing. No more excuses, no more overwhelm, no more I'll figure it out later. Just a simple 8-step system that works. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with are keywords. I call this my 5-minute keyword foundation. And this is way easier than people make it seem, okay? We don't have to get complicated with a bunch of software, fancy keyword tools or anything like that. We don't need to do hours of research either. So let me get over to my screen. I'm going to type in Etsy and open up the Etsy store. And I'm just going to go right here to the search bar, okay? And this is how we're going to do our keyword research. Now, my 5-minute plan here is basically just to find a nice long tail keyword. And long tail just means that there's lots of words in the keyword, like a big phrase, okay? And it just needs to relate to what it is that you sell. Okay, so I've got something that is basically like social media, Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels for law firms, okay, specifically estate planners. And this is like a product I've created. I'm going to use it as my example for creating a listing today. Now, because this is estate planning, it's kind of niche. It's not for every attorney. Okay, so I'm going to start out with estate planning. All right, I'm just going to type that in. This is way too broad of a keyword. All right, like I can't compete on this keyword because there's going to be a lot of stuff in here that is like not relevant to me. Like my product is social media. It's not templates. It's not documents or that kind of thing. Okay, so now we can see when I click into the search bar, there's all these other terms down below. Now, what I'm going to do is just hit my space bar and I am going to put like I for Instagram, estate planning Instagram. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay, now the first thing I'm looking at here is, okay, how many of these are ads, right? So see where it says ad right here by Etsy seller? Those are all ads. Now, they don't count, right? So those are people just bidding on a keyword and they may not have something that's relevant to this or not at all. So like these are for real estate. So it's coming up on the estate thing, but they're not really relevant. So we do see a couple here though, 200 estate planning posts for social media, 10-part social post series. Okay, and then we're back to like marketing bundles and more generic stuff. So, okay, there's a couple of things there, not much competition. So I like that. All right. Don't worry about how much traffic is going to this, right? Like if it shows up in this search bar, that means people are looking for it. We don't know how many, but that's okay. So let's just put like, let's start with Facebook. Okay. Nobody cares about that. What else could we do here? How about estate planning marketing? That's not showing up. So see how when I'm typing this, like nothing is showing up? Like if I start to type marketing, there's nothing showing up down here. That just means there's nobody searching for that. Yeah. Okay. How about social? Oh, if I can spell it. Social media. Okay. Social media posts, social media. So these are both good. And I like social media posts here because it's the longest keyword we've looked at. Okay. That means it's going to have the smallest amount of traffic, but it's also super targeted because that's exactly what I'm offering. And what's great now, what I want to show you here is that see how it's 5 words, right? it includes estate planning, which I said was like a broad keyword, right? Which I may not be able to rank for right away. It'd be hard. Okay. It's got social media in it. Okay. Which is another keyword down here. And it's got posts. So if I target this one, then as the popularity of this listing grows, I'll rank for this keyword and I'll even start to rank for other estate planning searches, kind of like we've seen. Okay. So like if I search on this one, see how this product right here, this one showed up under Instagram as well. So they've got the keywords in there. Now that other option that we saw under Instagram, the second one over there, I don't see that here. So they probably are not trying to compete on this keyword. So that's great, right? So this is a super limited competition thing, but this is going to be my keyword. All right. So this I'm going to copy. Boom. I'm going to just put this on a new notepad. Okay. And paste that there. All right. Because we're going to need that later. So now's when we're going to start using AI. We're going to start a conversation that we'll be able to use throughout the rest of this listing creation process. And it's going to make things go really smoothly for us. Now, I'm going to grab our keyword here. All right. So let's do that. Estate planning social media posts. And now I'm going to tell ChatGPT that I'm creating an Etsy listing for my digital product. Okay. I'm just going to give it a little background, right? Okay, so this is what I've got is, hey, I'm just creating a new listing in it for my Etsy store. It's a digital product, and this is kind of what the product is. So I just give it a quick background, and then I say, this is the keyword phrase I want to rank for. Now, the first thing that I need help with is creating a title for my listing that includes my keyword, phrase, and related keywords like Instagram. So see how when I was doing that research, we discovered Instagram was also one of the search terms that came up. So I'm just going to mention that here. Okay. And then I'm going to just hit enter and just see kind of what kind of titles it comes up with. Now we've got 140 characters to work with inside of Etsy on a new listing. Okay. So, we will basically use whichever one of these kind of comes as close as it can to that limit and has the keywords we want. Now, instead of having to brainstorm all of this stuff ourselves or just use that plain keyword phrase, now we've taken that, we've got the keyword phrase plus some other stuff in there so that we can really sort of create a listing that ranks. Okay. What we can do is basically just go into our Google and paste this info either into like a text document or like a Google Doc, right? So let's look through these. Now, one of the things I will say is that you want to have your keyword phrase first in the title. Okay, the main one we're going for. So for me, that has to be first. Okay, so I'm just reading through these. I like that one. So number one, yeah, I like this one. I mean, it includes Instagram as well, but that really was not a keyword phrase. And Etsy, I'm afraid, is going to look at that as one big keyword versus separating that stuff out. So, so I think number one is kind of our best option here. Title. All right. And then we can just paste that in there. Okay. Now the reason I like this too is estate planners is another keyword phrase that I hadn't thought of besides estate planning. Okay. So that's good. That's good. All right, so there's our title done. Now, the next thing we're going to do is just kind of ask for some tags relating to this keyword phrase. All right, so obviously our first tag, it's not obvious. You want your first tag to be your keyword phrase. Okay. All right, so let's do that. We'll copy those right over here to our document. All right, and that's 3 steps already done. So we found our keyword phrase, we've made a title, and now we have our tags to paste into our listing. So the next natural thing would be to go ahead and create a description as well. We're having this conversation with ChatGPT. Let's go ahead and knock out a few of the other things that we're going to need when we go ahead and create our listing. One of those is a description, okay? but we're also going to need like a thank you message. The next thing I ask is for ChatGPT to help me craft a message to buyers for after they purchase one of my digital products. Okay. So let's go ahead and copy that. And of course, you can just kind of have a conversation with ChatGPT and edit these things if you want, right? So shop, purchase, thank you message. Okay. We'll just paste that in. I'm just hitting Control V. Okay. So let's just make that into a heading so kind of see these a little easier. So we start to get more stuff on here. It starts to get a little more complicated. So, okay, now we've got that. Okay, so this prompt is basically just asking for a product description. I reference back to the keywords that we talked to ChatGPT about in this. And then I just kind of talk about like, let's make this description really benefit driven and make sure to kind of put the benefits in the language of the estate planners. So that's what we want to do. Like we want to have keywords in here. Okay. And so we've got that estate planning, social media posts. Like that's our key thing. We've also got Instagram in there. And then we just really want to make this about them, right? Like it's not about our product. It's about like what it can do for them. And so that's where I want to be as far as that goes. So that looks pretty good actually. So let's go ahead and copy this. Okay. And let's just put that into our document. Boom. Okay. So now we're really getting around a lot of the cool stuff we're going to need to be able to sell this. We've got a thank you message for when they download the digital product. We've got our tags. We've got a title. It's all keyword centered. So we're going to be ranking in search results on this long tail keyword because we've done our keyword research. Okay. And the next thing is going to be creating our shop images. Now, this may be one of the most difficult pieces of creating your listing on Etsy because this is where it kind of gets into like, do I hire a designer? Do I hire a photographer? What if my images suck? As you can see, when we're out here on Etsy, the stuff on these search results is like, looks pretty nice, doesn't it? I mean, some look better than others, but they're all pretty good. So we don't want to come out here with something that's just totally awful, right? And I've got good news for you because if you've ever thought like, I'm going to have to design this myself and this is where I just give up the keys and just decide I'm not going to put a listing out there. Well, I've got good news for you. Okay. I want to show you what I started out doing because this is kind of where I always go. I always am like, oh, I'll just have to hack it out myself or whatever. Because like I said before, Canva doesn't really have any Etsy listing templates. So what do you do, right? Do you go from scratch? Do you hire somebody? This is what I did at first. And, to be honest, it's okay, right? It's not that good though. I'm not a designer, that's for dang sure. Okay. But I just wanted to show you this because I know like this is kind of where we go. And I want to show you how you can actually make something really cool using Canva, even though they don't have a listing type of template. And the way we do that, okay, is we just go into our search here. Okay. We create an Instagram post like the square. Okay. Just like here, I'll just close this and let's just start over. All right. Instagram post square. Okay. And now we're just going to be in templates. All right. So I was searching on stuff. I searched on like Etsy. Okay. And you can see there's some things in here like social media templates. Now, this is supposed to be like an Instagram post, but stick with me. Okay. Now, if we scroll down here, we're going to see a few things. All right. You'll see all these cool templates, right? And if I click on that, it just adds it. And you'll see that these are actually frames. So you can drag your own photo into these. And of course, we can edit the text and stuff like that. But what I wanted to point out to you is that over here on the left side, like the image we clicked was this, but it kind of brings you into this more like this section. And look at this. Like this is a pretty nice little template. We can edit all of these images, okay, and put our own images in there, especially since I'm doing these reels. And that looks pretty cool, right? So now I'm going to add a page. I'm going to go back over here to designs and let's just look for some other cool ones. Okay. Here's another one that's pretty nice. So we should have at least like 5 images for our Etsy listing. Okay. So I'm just adding these as pages. Let's go back. Let's find a different one. For me, it's got to be the real size, or the mobile video size. So some of these just don't really pertain, and that's okay, right? But some of them do. Okay, so we can even go back up here and just say like social media. Here's a neat one. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of add. See how I'm doing this? I'm just adding a page. So now I've got 3 pages here. Don't worry, we can actually export these as individual images later. Now, what I want to do is I just want to show you how I can take my images from my estate planning reels over here. Okay. Now, all I do is to get these images, like the fast way to get these into Canva is to take screenshots. Okay. So the way I do that on my Mac is I just hit Command-Shift-4, and then I can just kind of grab the screen there and just drag around what it is that I want. And that puts the image on the clipboard. Okay. You can definitely do this on Windows as well. I don't know the exact keys, but if you just kind of look up how to do screenshots, or if you've already got like a little extension in Chrome or something like that that allows you to do that, then you just want to use that. Okay. And then what that allows us to do is, like, when you take a screenshot and you have the picture on the clipboard, then you can just go in here to Canva. Okay. Here's my old thing. I can just hit the paste button, right? I can just hit Control V or Command V, and it pastes the images in. So I don't even have to like upload it. Now, if you took pictures on your phone for your Etsy listing, that's perfectly cool. Like if you've got a coffee mug that you're selling or something like that, that's great. Just upload those listings in those images into Canva. Use them. Okay. So there is an image. Now, also what's cool is, since I hit paste, that's actually going to drop it into my uploads. All right. So let's bounce back over here. I like this one. I want this to be my kind of front image cover for this product, for this listing. So now I'm going to go to uploads, and I'm going to drag this image over here and see how it drops it right there. Perfect. Now I've got another one, drop it right in there. And the reason I would go through this effort of like dropping the actual photos of my reels in here is just because it's like, it's cool. Like, people want to see what they're going to get, and I just want to show it to them. Okay. So that's why I do that. So again, we can kind of do the same thing up here. You can see how it's going to look. When I just drag the image out over this phone, it's just going to drop it right into the frame, right? Super cool. Or how about this one? See how that works? Now you look like an artistic genius. Okay. So that's how that is going to go for us. And it makes the whole process of creating beautiful images a lot easier for our Etsy listings. Okay, so I'm working through these, and I decided that we could also leverage ChatGPT to help us out with the text on these, because that is also kind of difficult, and we can't just do images, right? It really helps, I think, get your listing and get sales if you've got some text on each of your listing images that just kind of helps guide people through what they get. Okay, we've got our description, which kind of is a mini sales letter in some ways, but people are visual, right? And so we really want to kind of reinforce what we say in our description, if they even read the description, and kind of help walk people through the benefits of getting our product on Etsy. So what I decided to do is bounce over here into our good friend ChatGPT and just continue the conversation. Here's what I said. I need to create these 5 images for my listing. I want this to be a mini sales letter. Okay. So the reason I'm doing that is because, again, like, maybe people don't read the description, or maybe they've already looked and kind of forgotten about it. We just want to kind of take people through exactly like what they need to do and why this is a good fit for them, right? They're here, they've clicked on it. That means probably they're interested in this product. Let's sell it to them. Okay. So I love this. This is so much fun. Like, actually, I really enjoy this piece. So image 1, okay, we're going to grab attention. So it's going to follow the form of a sales letter, agitate the pain. Then we're going to give a solution and some of the benefits. And then we're just going to make a call to action. Okay. You're not limited to 5 images. I think you can have up to like 10 in Etsy. So you could even go further than this. and kind of broaden these out. But I think 5 is a good number for us today. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just kind of take some of this. And now I think probably what I want to do when I look and search on Etsy, I need to have a very clear sort of front image. Okay. And so I'm not sure I want to start with the problem statement. I may want to start more with what they get. So I may make 6 images in the end, but ultimately that's fine. You can kind of work this how you want. But what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of work through some of these pages, right? So we've got these templates now. Let's just look at this one. This would be a good spot for us to copy in some of that text, right? And just shrink it way down here. Move some of the text at the end. So I apologize. I know this kind of is slow, but I just thought, I did promise I'd go through this with you step by step. So rather than leaving stuff out, I'll just do it with you. Okay. It'll be ugly and it'll be time consuming. So I apologize. I did promise I would do that. So let's kind of take a look here and see if we can broaden these out a little. Right. I don't love that font. I just like stuff that people can read. Okay. Cool. And then I'm just going to duplicate that because our next thing from ChatGPT is kind of similar. Struggling to get new clients. Boom. This is the most time consuming part. Okay. So you don't really have any choice but to just do it. Now, one thing you can do here is if this thing is getting in the way, just delete it. All right. If we want our message to be a little more front and center, then that's why I love Canva. You can just kind of mess with everything if you want. All right. And maybe what we want to do here is maybe we want to just kind of give a little like heads up to estate planners, right? Don't really want that right justified. I want that center. Okay. Estate planners. Make it like or something or underline it or something. No time for social media, struggling to get new clients. Okay. So that's kind of how we set this up. And then we can kind of move this stuff around. There is something that we can add. So that's ready. Now down here, we're going to kind of jump to our next thing. Posting feels overwhelming. Design takes hours you don't have. Okay. So I need some more images over here. Let's just grab some more screenshots. Canva. So the way I get these to upload, I just paste it, even though I can't like drag this in necessarily. Oh, it did work. Cool. Perfect. Good. Then I can just kind of speed through this stuff. All right, click over here. This one, go back over here, drag it right into there. See how it drops right in? Let's go for another one here. I just kind of click over to the last slide because I want to be able to get all the text on the image. So most of these, like the image, the text is kind of reading out into the video as it plays. So okay, so there we go. That looks pretty good. And now this time I'm going to just delete a couple of these so that we can put another message in here, right? Posting feels overwhelming. I may go straight to the solution here, actually. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do. Let's get a text box on. Okay, we'll drag that out. We're going to change it to League Spartan. I got to highlight the thing and change it. Probably don't need all these quotes here. Okay. Estate planners, no time. Struggling to get new clients. Get these done for you. Estate planning posts. So see how we're going to start with, you know what, I'm going to just delete this page. I was just kind of adding stuff in here that I might like to use. I'm going to use that one. I might use that later. I'm just going to move it down. And somewhere here I had a cool other template. Remember where it went? Refresh Canva. Oh, here it is. Okay. Something got weird there. Okay, so this is going to be our first page. Okay, so now we're going to ask ChatGPT, I need kept descriptive titles, very short title for image that front cover for my product. Okay, I like that. Let's go with that. Again, a huge fan of font. Delete some of this text. Kind of just make ourselves a little room here. Let's lift that up. And then what we're going to do is grab a second blurb here. Get more clients, save time. Love that. Okay. And then I don't know about that font, but we're just going to make it bigger. Okay. And then we just have to make sure we get our uploads and stuff. Right. Take our time with this, make it all look good. A couple more. Oh, that's the last one. Look at us, huh? Okay, so then what we've got here is, let's get something unique for this image so that we don't have them like seeing the same exact thing. Okay. Okay. New one for down here. We're just kind of keeping it unique, right? Showing off that there's a lot of variety in here. We don't want to just kind of reuse the same images over and over again. It's tempting to want to because it'd save a lot of time, but at least people are about to spend money on this. So they want to know they're getting unique content, that it's not like 10 good ones and then 80 crappy ones, right? So let's do the right thing by just kind of taking our time here, getting this all right. Okay. All right. So now we are on to our next slide, which is going to talk about the benefits. Let's do it. Need a different template. Maybe this one. Delete all that stuff. This we want. Control A, Control V, paste all that in. These quotes. Now we're ready for another image. Okay, if it doesn't fall right into the frame thing, then you can just delete it and then drag it over from over here at uploads. Okay, all right, call to action. Maybe we'll just use this and just put some text on here. Something like that. Let's delete that. Okay. Instant download. Went away. Rats. Copy that. Duplicate. Those quote. Okay. Let's see if we can get these in order. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's our message. So that's like our sales page, isn't it? We just need a photo in that one, don't we? Okay. Now I think if I really wanted to get into doing this, then I would maybe make another block here where somehow I convey that they can edit and add their own brands to these social media reels and stuff like that. That's kind of a cool feature, but it's also like more work for them, which ultimately when they're buying this kind of thing, they don't want more work. So maybe I'm just going to leave it off for now. Maybe I'll add that later. I don't know. I have to think about that, but there are our 5 images done. Okay. So we're going to name this listing image set. And then what we can do is hit share here. Okay. And then download this. And then in here, what we're going to do is we're going to say select pages. There we go. Okay. So let's just put that in there. Yeah. It puts it into a zip file. And then we'll be able to use those when we create our listing here in a minute. So let's go into our listing right now. We're going to take a look at this. Okay, we've got our title. I'm going to walk you through step by step every one of these pieces. Okay. This is already filled out. I ended up having to re-record this a little bit, so I apologize for that. Already being filled out, but just had a little bit of a microphone issue. So that's all right. We'll work through it. We're miking up this time, so that's all good. So one of the things we want, and the reason we want to do this is because Etsy says that they found that listings with video get twice as many orders as listings with just photos. Okay. So let's bounce over here into Etsy, and I just want to show you in our search results the difference between a listing on the search results page that has a video and one that does not. Okay. So if I hover over this listing, see how it's like doing this thing? That's a video. Okay. This one has also got a video because it changes. This listing does not have a video. All right. So when I hover over it, nothing interactive happens. Okay. So I think that's one of the key things drawing people into your listing. All right. So if you want to do this, I recommend it. And I'm going to show you an easy way. Okay. So let's bounce back over here to Canva. Okay. So we've got our 5 images. And what I want you to do now is I want you to go ahead and click down here on pages. All right. So right now, what you're seeing is this. When you click on pages, then it's going to just change the view a little bit. Then the next thing that you're going to click on is this little button called duration. And when I click on that, then it kind of puts it into this video timeline. And I want to show you here, each of those pages is going to basically be given like a 5-second duration by default in Canva. And so if you just grab the little bars that are out here on the side, like so, if you click on page 1, and then you can just kind of drag the time, and you'll see that the time is changing from 3.9 down to whatever, 1.9. So that's kind of what we do. Just shrink them all down to like 1.5 to 2 seconds. So we want that to be kind of quick, because as you saw, like it transitions through these pretty quick when people do these. So we don't want it to be like 2 or 3 or 5 seconds per page, because that would just be too long. So do that, okay? Make them all about 1.5 to 2 seconds. And then when you're done, you'll have a video, and all you have to do is hit share, all right, download, and then instead of having the file type PNG, we're just going to hit this drop down, and then we'll just change it to MP4 video. Then hit download, then save that to the same folder where you put those images, okay? Because we're just going to upload that to Etsy here in a minute, okay? So that is a video done right now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go into Etsy, and we're going to go to our listings here, all right? And when we create a listing, what we do, we go to listings. Now, this is assuming you have your shop set up. Keep in mind, like I said before, like I don't have a tutorial in this video about setting up your shop. We'll do that in a different video. But once you've got your shop set up, we're going to hit add list. All right. And then we're just going to iterate through these little questions here. Okay. So the first thing is going to be category. And so for me, it's digital, if I can spell it. All right. And then if you're making images, you have digital prints, right? That would be what you're doing. If you're making like planners and stuff like that, then choose that. If you're doing PDF guides, then do guides and how to. And if you're doing this kind of thing like social media, then I just choose this one called digital. All right. So that's what I choose. It's kind of weird when you choose it from the categories, it puts it down here and just puts a tick box by it. It's not obvious. But choose that and then hit continue. Okay. And then hit digital files on this next page. And then it's just going to ask you some questions about how this was made. So I made this. It's a finished product, which just means that there's nothing left to do, right? They buy it, they get it, it's done. When was it made? Okay, 2025. It was created by me. Now, sometimes when I make digital art to sell on here and it's done by AI, I just choose with an AI generator. No big deal. And I have no production partners for this. Okay, so if you're doing print on demand t-shirts or mugs or that kind of thing, and you're using Printify or Printful or something like that, then you just want to hit that button and choose them. Okay. So once you've got that set up, then it just drops you back to your main listing page. Okay. And so now this is where we just use our resources that we created here. All right. We've got a good title. So we just hit copy on that. Okay. Paste. Now it's time to upload our photos and videos. Okay. So I'm going to start the video. Just say open up that. Puts it in slot 2 for me. All right. And then while that is uploading, I can start uploading my images here as well. So they're just listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember, we kind of put our images in order as we were doing them, so that was on purpose. Okay. So we can start with 1, and that's going to be our cover. See how it says primary right there? And then 2 is going to be this one. And then we just kind of go through and set those up. Okay. Just add all 5. You can see the thumbnail. Now, if anything looks wonky or weird or anything like that, especially if you weren't able to use like a square image or something like that in Canva, then you may want to adjust the thumbnail, right? Just to kind of zoom in or zoom out or that kind of thing. I think the squares look pretty good, even though that information page on Etsy says not to use square images. I feel like that's what they really want. So don't ask. Digital files. Now, I'm selling a digital file, but these are Canva templates, and Canva does not allow you to download all those video files and then resell those videos because it contains a bunch of other people's content, like images and video and stuff. So what we do instead is we give people a Canva template link, and we put that on like a Google Doc or a PDF file. And then when people buy it from us, they click that link. It takes them to Canva. If they do not have a Canva account yet, they can set one up. Doesn't cost anything. And then those files that we created for them, we'll just open up into Canva for them. And then they can make edits or they can download it and stuff like that. Okay, so that is where I have actually created a little thank you page that's just for these downloads. Okay, and I just want to show that to you so you can kind of get a sense for what that looks like. And I just link to that Canva template. Now, if you're wondering how to do that, watch the last video I created. So it's the one right before this one. It'll pop up probably at the end of this video as well. But in that video, I show how to create a digital product and on Canva, and then we basically show how to create a thank you page and stuff like that too. But this is just a link, right? So if I copy this link and go to a new incognito window, then you'll see what happens here. Like I paste, and this is what our customers are going to see, right? So we can say accept cookies. Now it's just going to show my videos in the square here. They're not really square, but you can see it's a template created by me, view template. And then basically when I click that, it's just going to say sign up to Canva, right? Super easy for the customer to do. And most people have, like hundreds of millions of people have Canva accounts. So a lot of people already have it. Okay. And then that is cool. So that's what our thank you page, that's what our digital file here is going to be when we're selling people a Canva template. If I was selling them a PDF book, I would just upload the PDF book here. Okay. So I'm going to hit add file. I'm going to get that thank you page and I'm just going to upload that. Okay. If you're not doing digital files, then this doesn't pertain to you. But what will pertain to you is having to do a description. Okay. So that is something we did and we pasted it in here. All right. So let's go to our description. Of course, because we copied this out of ChatGPT, it's going to look a little weird when we paste it in here. All right. There's going to be some spacing issues and stuff like that. Can't really use bolds and stuff like that either, but we can delete some of our space, make that all look a little better. So I'm just hitting the enter key and stuff like that. Now make sure you read your description that ChatGPT created. Instant download. So this is all good, but then who is this for? It's for estate planners. It's not for professionals. I'm going to just, all right, something like that. So just make sure you read through that and make sure it's the right thing. Okay. For your description. So that all looks fine. No personalization on this. All right. If you're personalizing stuff like adding people's names or logos to the videos, or you're, creating some craft where you're customizing it per person, like maybe you're making digital prints of people's dogs or something like that, taking their pictures, then you can add personalization. So I'd encourage you to read more about that if you're thinking that you're doing custom stuff per sale. Otherwise, you can just leave that. Now let's price this thing out. I'm just going to put like 17 in there. And then I'm going to give it a quantity like 17, just a random. Okay. There really is, it's digital. So there's like unlimited supply. But if I wanted to make these more valuable, I really could just limit how many of these are sold. And then that way estate planners know, like, I'm not going to be showing the same content to my audience that, the guy down the street is showing that also does estate planning. They worry about that, even though the chances of that happening are like 1 in a billion. So we could up the price and be like, hey, these are exclusive. There's a limited set. There's only 15. Get one while they're still available, right? And then we could offer them the next 15, a unique set, right? So that is the quantity there. Now, we're doing a digital file. If you're doing a print on demand or that kind of thing, then you just want to be sure you fill out this attributes thing where it talks about the materials, the colors, any of the choices that people are able to make. So that stuff. Okay. And then tags. Now, this is where, the tags that we get out of ChatGPT are extremely valuable. Okay. So what I'm going to show you though is that they're too long. Like Etsy has now made it so that our tags can only be 20 characters long. So like if I try to copy this whole list in here or something like that, it's just going to say, can't do it. Right. So I'll paste that. See, tags must be between 1 and 20 characters. So I'm just going to eliminate that. I'm going to put a comma here, and then I'm going to hit the enter key, and that's going to make social media, and I'm going to delete that because it has that apostrophe in there. Social media, post, reels, estate planner. So I'm kind of taking things that were in this list and just making them smaller. Okay. Another good one there, content, marketing. So that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. We're not using any materials. So this isn't like t-shirts or anything. We have no shipping. Since we chose digital, there is no shipping, and there are no returns either. So we don't have to worry about that. Okay. And so now what's going to happen is it's going to say, if you want to post this, it's going to cost you 20 cents for a 4-month listing. Okay. So 3 times a year, you have to pay 20 cents to keep this listing active. Right. Once you're ready to go, then just hit publish. Okay. I'm going to say save as draft because, like I said, I already created this. So you can see it right here. All right. There it is. And yeah, just to verify everything, we didn't do anything different on my actual listing. So that's that. Here's the thing. The real secret to success with Etsy or Shopify or any store is kind of getting your listings out there, getting your products for sale. All right. The thing that the pros know that the beginners don't is that there is no magic listing. There is no perfect setup. It's just that you have to get it done, get it posted, move on to the next listing and creating the next product and move on to the marketing of the product. Okay. And that's what they do. That's what the pros do that the beginners do not. Okay. So you can't make optimizations to stuff that doesn't exist. You can't have a real business if you don't have anything out there for sale. So that's why I wanted to put this video together just to help you kind of get that listing out there. Now that you've got one done, you'll find that the next listings are even easier. Okay, if you don't have a product, then I show on my channel how to make some digital products pretty easily, even using ChatGPT just to create images and stuff. So that's also stuff that I cover in one of my courses that's free inside my free community. Link to that down in the description if you want to check it out. I'll put all the prompts that I used throughout this into the community as well, and I'll link to that maybe from the description down below as well. And I hope you feel that creating a listing on Etsy in this tutorial were like manageable. It's definitely something you can do. I hope you can do it in like 30 minutes. For sure, the next time you do it, it'll take less time than the first time. It's not the technical stuff. It's really just kind of overcoming yourself and the hurdles, realizing that you don't need special software for keywords or creating images, that this stuff, especially with the tips that I showed you with AI and how to create all the descriptions and tags and stuff, and the trick that I showed you with Canva on how to get your images looking really professional without having to waste a ton of time on it. Those 2 things alone will save you days just getting your listings created. So follow that stuff, follow the steps that we've talked through here. There's 8 steps. The last step is hitting the publish button. Okay. And so I want you to do that, get it out there, and just know in your heart that you can go out and make edits to it later. All right. But once you get it out there, it's going to feel really good. And I want you to experience that. So here's your challenge. Get something listed, get a listing out there, and don't spend hours. Just kind of follow what we did here. Follow a simple plan, choose a long tail keyword, and watch the magic happen. Okay. Once you get that listing out there, it's going to be really a good feeling. So like I said, there's going to be a couple of videos popping up on the screen right now. Check those out. One of those should be showing you how to create a digital product for Etsy specifically, or like one of these Reels type products. Okay. So if you need a digital product, then that will help you out. And listen, I look forward to hearing about your success with this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you like this, please give it a like. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love to have you on board, and you take care.